Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Marcus from Team Takeover, and today I'm coming at you with a discussion video on Frieza / Bionic Strike Mecha Frieza. Now, I woke up this morning and I saw in my card games chat on Facebook that there had been an errata to this card, and I wanted to be one of the first people to get you guys a discussion video regarding Mecha Frieza, what its errata is, going forward, what the deck will do, new leaders you can play, and that will be like tier 1 and probably really good, as well as what is the new threat going forward. And I believe that we are just now trading off an apple for an orange, and it's about to get really kind of crazy with a whole new degenerate problem that we have to deal with. But without further ado, let's kind of talk about it. So permanent on this side, I'm going to talk about the effect first, what it is now, and then I'm going to tell you the two clauses that have been added to this side and the one clause that has been added to this side. So on this side it says, when you activate an extra card, you may choose one card in your life added to your hand. If you do, reduce the energy cost of that extra card by 1 for the duration of the turn. If this reduces the energy cost of that extra card to less than 1, you may activate the card without paying the specified cost. And then you can draw 2 to awaken when your life is at 4 or less. So this side has had two clauses added to it. The first is right after permanent. It says during your opponent's turn. And the last is after talking about reducing the card to less than 1, you do not have to pay the specified cost. It says you may only activate this once per turn. So up here it says during your opponent's turn, and down here it says you can only activate this effect once per turn. And then on this side, it says when you activate an extra card, you may choose one card in your life, add it to your hand. If you do, reduce the energy cost of that extra card by 2 for the duration of the turn. If this reduces the energy cost of that extra card to less than 1, you may activate the card without paying the specified cost. There has only been one clause added to this side, and that is permanent during your opponent's turn. And then, of course, auto when this card draws a card. That stays the same. So, yeah, this pretty much addresses problems with Mecha Frieza, and I think that they handled this very well. There could still be an issue with this card in the future, although right now I believe that it has been seriously neutered. I believe that Mecha Frieza is now at least tier 2, if not worse. Primary reason being that the problem that Mecha Frieza had before this errata, and still currently has until it's official, is that it abuses advantageous extra cards to get too much advantage, as well as set up a board faster than others because certain extra cards allow you to vomit cards to the field. Grand Tour Spaceship, March of the Great Apes, to name a couple cards. And so Bionic Strike Mecha Frieza would abuse cards like Planet Vegeta, go +2, and then abuse Monaka, go +1, which is just not okay. And then if it awakens itself, it can then draw 2 to awaken, get more extra cards, possibly extend further, and have like 14 cards in hand with apes upon apes coming next turn for its for whatever its energy cost was at its current state. So Bionic Strike Mecha Frieza had a lot of problems with that. That, and on top of, if it tapped out, it could Nimbus, it could Bloodlust, it could play Senzu Bean, and it could just abuse these extra cards to create unfair defensive states as well as offensive boards. Yes, you basically killed yourself, which was the downside, but also on the flip side, it was extremely unfair with decks like Mecha GT, which could literally kill you on turn 2. So I personally, I think that this kind of needed to happen. I did not imagine they would go this far. So what does it mean for Mecha Frieza now? Basically, Mecha Frieza is a defensive leader only. That being that you can only now play like cards like Bloodlust, Crusher Ball, Wis's Coercion, Flying Nimbus, Senzu Bean on your opponent's turn, so that, and Mafuba as well. Let's not forget Mafuba, it's pretty good. And that is going to be the way that the deck plays. It's going to counter what your opponent's doing. So it's going to be very degenerate defensively, but also it's not going to be out of control. For example, on this side, had they not made a you can only activate this effect once per turn clause on that side, this leader still would have been really broke. Because if you drew like 3 Bloodlust or like 2 Bloodlust and a Crusher Ball, you could easily just flat out awaken on your like second turn if your opponent pushed far enough and you had enough responsive cards. So in my opinion, this side needed to be balanced. This side, not as much, because basically at that point you're killing yourself pretty quickly just to defend. Now, that is another aspect of Mecha Frieza. It can tap out and then defend. So that's kind of a plus side to it. But now, primarily, Mecha Frieza will be played defensively. This being said, now they have to watch what kind of good defensive extra cards they make in the game instead of initiate cards like Create Android, so on and so forth. Obviously, they took a look at Mecha Frieza when they made Create Android because it is Android specific. If not, guess what would have been playing it? So, that out of the way, let's move on to leaders that you can probably not play. SS3 Bardock, that's a structure deck one. You can play that. You can probably play regular Bardock. I imagine that's going to be a little bit better now. Pan is probably going to be the most broken hand advantage leader in the game. It will probably also be the fastest kill time in the game. Pan is pretty insane if you guys haven't like looked at it. In fact, recently I went to an Indianapolis ARG Invitational tournament just to qualify for their Grand Invitational tournament. They'll kind of hold kind of like a little Nats. And basically, the Pan beat Mecha all day and won the event. It was mono red Pan, which is crazy to think about, but the deck piloted insane. The advantage in drawing was pretty crazy. So there's that. Cell is undoubtedly going to be now probably the top leader. Other yellow leaders that you could now go to for Bloodlust, obviously Ginyu will probably be the best self-awakening leader in the game. You have also Galactic and Golden Frieza. Soul Striker Goku will probably be good again. SS3, cannot forget that leader. It will be probably very problematic and insane as well. So I can really imagine a lot more leaders just coming into the game. Vegeta's probably going to be playable. But that's an issue because we kind of substitute Mecha Frieza, which is kind of kept Cell in check now. We're going to now be substituting Mecha Frieza at a competitive level probably for Cell. So kind of let me talk about Cell real quick. Cell has two primary issues with it that it didn't have before. One, it has a lot better turn one plays, and it's a lot more consistent with cards like Dr. Gero, that is the scientist, Android 20, the creator that you can search out, and tutor the new super combo. And the new super combo, Style-Hearted Android 16, what that does is when you combo with it, if your life is at 4 or less, you can boost the cards that you're comboing with by 10. You just boost that card by 10k power, and then your opponent discards a card. Now this is a particular issue because of the cell chain. And we also got an overwhelm card called Relentless Attack Mira, I believe, that basically the cell chain reduces your hand to 3, and the Stout-Hearted Android 16 reduces that for every super combo you play by 1. And if you have enough super combos, or 2 and a Relentless Mira, you can loop your opponent's entire hand from them. Meaning you just discard all of them to the drop area. That's a serious problem. Ginyu is probably going to be one of the best defenses against this because it is both self-awakening and can play Bloodlust. And because of that, the self-awakening ability, you could have Bloodlust in life and get it to hand, as well as your normal draw for the turn. Bulma being also able to extend your draw plays is just going to allow you to see that Bloodlust a lot faster than you would have a couple formats ago. Or at least a format ago, I guess. Whenever Mecha Frieza came out and it changed the format. So, but when the format changes, Cold Bloodlust will not be seen as fast because Mecha Frieza basically got like 14 cards, as I explained, in hand, and odds are there was a Bloodlust. So Cell was, at that time, very suboptimal because the odds your opponent had an answer were just astronomically high. They're faster than you. They're vomiting apes to the field. They're doing GT things. and they still have Bloodlust. And it's like, I can't keep up. I can't keep up. Even if you could turn 2, technically, play Cell, that's still in Cell Chain, that still ran into a lot of issues with Bloodlust and investment. So basically, long story short, Mecha Frieza was the card that kind of was holding Cell back, in my opinion. And I think going forward, not to blow it up, not to make it a bigger deal than what it is, but the Cell Chain is serious. And anybody who's been Cell Chain realizes that's a serious problem. And so I think that coupled with its cards like Create Android that also allow them to draw that new Doctor's Row Scientist, that coupled with Android 20, that's at least 12 cards right there that increase the consistency. And let's not forget that Cell Leader itself, when it's awakened, has a draw effect, which means that the odds that we're going to see these super combos are just astronomical. And so the scenario I present to you where you get Cell Chained and lose your whole hand is a very easy and real possibility. So be very weary of that. And if you guys are looking to play the next deck that could be super good because of that, Cell could be your deck. And I think that it addresses other decks like Pan, because then Pan loses all its advantage that it's gathering by playing these threats, as well as Cell Leader can pick those threats off on their turn. So, like, that's going to be a huge issue for Pan going forward, and I think that it's going to also present an issue now that Mecha has been addressed. So let me know what you guys think of the Errata. Let me know what you guys think about this video down below. Any other leaders that I forgot to mention that could be good, leave them down in the comment section, as well as let me know what you guys think they could have done to Mecha. I was personally in favor of just limiting it to once per turn and then doing something to Shugesh so it couldn't play ridiculous things. But that was just my opinion, and I think that they addressed it, at least. And let me know if you thought that address was fair. And this is Marcus from Team Takeover signing off. And if you guys are going to San Jose, good luck. Talk to you later. Bye.